An absolutely glorious day. An absolute stunner, guys. Perfect day to sit down and talk about money. Yep, that time of the month again. How much have we spent travelling in this little silver box on wheels? What do you reckon? More than last month? She's a biggie. This goes from the 18th of March until the 17th of April. I think the 18th of March was when we were leaving Compota, the little dog sit that we did with Pepsi, and obviously takes us up to a few days ago. We're a little bit late doing the budget update this month, but yeah, so 1 month again of costs, and from there we have travelled through Spain, up through the south of France and down through Italy, just to put it into context. Got the old notes. So fuel, not quite sure how many miles we have done in that time, but 143 quid. Now we did take the opportunity to fill up in Spain just before we crossed into France, so we managed, I think, to avoid any fuel, putting any fuel in the van in France, and then obviously we've put a couple of tank loads in, or a tank load in Italy, but 143 quid, which is, I think, the least fuel that we've actually put in. We have had a couple of days sort of downtime in various campsites, which we'll come to, but yeah, 143 quid over the last month. Transport. Now, this is a biggie this month, 307 quid, and that's split up into two different categories. A small portion of that is toll roads, and most of those toll roads are either coming through Italy or coming through France, but then the majority of that is our ferry cost from Brindisi over to Greece. I think that was just over 200 quid. I shall refer back to the master boss. How much was the ferry?
To Greece?
No, to Jamaica.
195.
190.
To you.
100. Oh, you're not listening to me. 195 quid one way to Greece. But we'll talk about, there'll be a whole video talking about our experiences getting the ferry across. But that meant 307 quid on transport in the last month. Groceries. She's a biggie. Now again, to put this figure into context, the first month 342 quid. The second month 395 quid. This past month 626 quid. Now I don't remember eating anything extra special in the van. I think what's happening is we're going into grocery stores little and often, and while we're going in for bread, we're coming out with bread plus. Now we did stock up in a couple of extra beers in France, which obviously add a little bit of cost there, but 626 quid on groceries for a month, especially because we're still not eating exotically in the van, something that we probably need to work on just a little bit. Social and experiences. I think this is mostly social, so going out for a couple of dinners, a couple of beers, several coffees, 283 quid, so still under 300 quid, which I think isn't too bad. Probably a little bit less than last month. Obviously we've left the whole sort of concept of €1 coffees long behind in Spain. The coffees and things in Italy haven't been too bad, so long as you haven't been in the main tourist bits. We have noticed probably double the cost. I mean, this morning we went out for a couple of coffees, and in fact we had a couple of coffees, an orange juice and a couple of croissant-y things, and I think it only came to about €9. I think if we were in the bigger cities, that probably would have been about 18-19 euro. But yeah, 283 quid on social and experiences. Another thing that has pushed this month's budget up is we have actually got a bit of cash out, and that's £448. Don't know what we spent that on. Checks Nicola's feet to make sure there's not a new pair of shoes there somewhere. Camping. Now, while we have enjoyed the freedom of airs and wild park-ups, the necessity of some of the locations that we have visited over the last month has meant that there either hasn't been anywhere to park other than a paid campsite, or to feel safe, especially when we were visiting Pisa and places like that, and Cinque Terre, I think that's how you pronounce it now. We actually went into some campsites, so it has been our most expensive from a camping perspective, 243 quid, but there are some extenuating circumstances surrounding that. some people maybe on here will be going, hang on a minute, haven't you got some van repair costs in there as well? That has not been included here because they've been paid for kind of after the 17th of March, so sadly they'll be carried over into next month. Just a little word on that cash, I've just kind of reminded myself as well, is that obviously some of that cash has not yet been spent, so hopefully there'll be a little bit of that sort of coming out of next month's budget as well. But given the fact that last month we came in at just over £1,200, this month £2,050. Now again, slightly extenuating circumstances because we do have the transport costs for the ferry, which was 200 quid, and we do still have some of that cash out left over that we'll be spending over the next week or so as we make our way hopefully into Greece. But just over £2,000. That's something that we were trying to keep. 2 minutes. I think he's gone. Oh, it's a fighter jet. There's actually been quite a few fighter jets kicking around over the last couple of days. Worrying times, worrying times. We were hoping to keep our travel budget to, on average, about 1,500 quid. So certainly we are kind of way over there, but as I said, some extenuating circumstances, and hopefully as we move into Greece and especially start to really go back out onto the wild side of things without sort of adding the camping in, and we won't have hopefully any more ferries for a while, maybe we'll be able to bring that down. So we know that traveling in the van, sometimes you have bigger months, sometimes you have lesser months, so we're still trying to hit that 1,500 quid target. And just again to put that into perspective, 1,400 quid in the first month, 1,200 quid in the second month, and 2,000 this month, giving us a grand, since we left the UK on the 18th of January, £4,700. Absolutely everyone has their own kind of budget and their own needs. Some people will probably be able to spend a month on the road, even through Italy and France and Spain, and probably spend a fraction of that wild camping 100% of the time, never eating out, never going out for beers or coffees, staying in one spot for longer, so less on the diesel. And then I'm sure there are people out there who are kind of looking at that going, well actually whenever we go away for maybe 3 months in the van, we spend £2,500 a time. We're trying to kind of get that somewhere in the middle. We certainly don't want to. We know that at some point in the future we're not going to do sort of van life and travel for the rest of our lives, so we want to do experiences, but at the same time we don't want to just kind of blow the budget every month. So hopefully by the time I'm talking to you this time next month, even with the van repairs cost in there, we'll hopefully be coming a little bit closer to our budget target. Right then, well, I think on that note I'm going to jump back in the van, get you edited and get you uploaded for the 100-day project. Day something or other. But we're getting close to the last quarter of these 100 days of vlogs. I can almost hear Nicola doing a little silent celebration in there. Bit of a challenge doing these 100 days of vlogs, but there you go. There's our budget for another month. And of course we will do another one next month when hopefully we'll be somewhere in Greece. Right guys, again I'll put the tea down in case I cause carnage. Once again, thanks a lot for following along, and from the 100-day project, we shall catch up tomorrow.